Welcome all. I am Dolphin, Assistant Professor in CSE Department, working in Emmanuel Arthur JJ College of Engineering. I am handling one of the subject Web Essential, subject code IT 3401, subject title Web Essential. We discuss about the Unit 1 topics. Now I am explain the topics one by one. First, Unit 1, what are the topics are present in Unit 1? We discuss about that. First, Unit 1, title Website Basics. Inside Website Basics, first topic is Internet Overview. Next topic, Fundamental Computer Network Concept. Next, Web Protocols. Next, URL. Next, Domain Name. Next, Web Browsers and Web Servers. Next, Working Principle of a Website. Next, Creating a Website. Next, Client-side and Server-side Scripting. Let's we see about the topics one by one briefly. First topic is Internet. We all are know about the Internet because today the world is depend upon the Internet only. Okay, so what is Internet? First, let's see about what is Internet. Internet is a total global system because millions of computers are connected together. It is a network of network communications. By using this Internet, many people can communicate with each other. Here, the Internets are connected to Internet Service Provider, that is ISP, through phone line, modem, or DSL. The Internet is a collections of computers that are communicate with one another using TCP or IP. TCP is a transmission control protocol. IP is Internet Protocol over an open or global communication network. Next one is World Wide Web. That World Wide Web is mentioned in WWW. It's a collection of software that is contain a corresponding protocols used to access the resources over the internet. That information system contain various documents consisting information that are interlinked together. That information is typically stored on the web pages, and through web browser we can access this web pages. Next is client server architecture. In this client server architecture, two architecture we can see. First one is two-tier architecture. Second one is three-tier architecture. Two-tier architecture means user and application connected through network via database system. Collect the data and pass through the user via network. In this three-tier architecture, user and application client through network connection, database system to application servers are connected to the server. Then from the database, data are collected and passed to the application server. Then application servers through the network connection pass to the application client via to the user. This is the three-tier architecture. In this architecture, we see the two communication, client and server. If client sent data to the server, server takes the data, enough data, and return back to the client. This is the A architecture. Next, B architecture. First client, that is tier 1. Second, application server, that is tier 2. Third one is tier 3, that is inside the tier 3. RDBMS. RDBMS is a relational database management system. Next, queues. Next, mainframes, etc. That means data are transferred to the tier 2 to tier 3 to tier 2. Next, tier 2, the data are taken to tier 1 to the client. Back to the client. Unit 1, second topic is Fundamental Computer Network Concept. What is network? Network is a interconnection of set of devices capable for communications. The device can be host such as larger computer, desktop, laptop, workstation, cellular phones or security systems. The device can be also be a connecting devices. That what are the devices are router, switch, modem. First one router. Router is a connect the network to other network. That is router. Switch connect device together. Modem that changes the form of data. The computer systems and peripherals are connected to form a networks. Next, computer network types. First type is local area network, that is LANs. Next, personal area network, that is PANs. Next, wide area network, that is WANs. Next, metropolitan area network, that is MANs. First, see about the LAN, local area network. It's a allows multiple users and exchange the files and messages and access shared resources such as file servers. Next one is PAN, personal area network. It covers the area 30 feet only. It is used to develop networks of laptops, mobile phones, media player and PlayStation. Small office network can built with the PANs. Next one is wide area networks, that is WANs. It interconnect with LANs across normal telephone lines and other medias. Next is metropolitan area network, that is MANs. It is covers large geographical areas by connecting different lands interconnected using telephones exchange lines, such as government agencies use MANs. Next is IP address. Here TCP or IP network is assigned a unique 32-bit logical address that is divided into two parts, two main parts. First one is network number, second one is host number. Here the IP address is grouped 4 into 8 bits, that is separated by dots format. Here we separated the two parts into 5 classes based on 5 classes. Classes, format, range and purpose. Class contain A to up to E. Format N, H, H, H. Range 1 to 254. First, the purpose of the range is 1 to 126 means very few large organizations are connected. 127 to 191 means medium size organization. 192 to 223 means relatively small organization. 224 to 239 means used for multi-caste groups. 242 to 254 means reversed for experimental purpose. Here the IP address is assigned to devices participating in computer network physical structure. Network is two or more devices connected to through the links. Link, what is link? Link is a pathway. So the communication pathway that transfer data from one device to another. Here two types of connection, point to point link and multi-point link. Physical topology, it refers the network that is laid out physically. The topology of the network is geometric representation, relationship of all the links and the linking devices called nodes to one another. Here four basic topologies is possible. First one is mesh topology, star topology, bus topology and ring topology. Protocol layering. Here the protocol is a set of rules that both the sender and the receiver intermediate device need to follow able to communicate efficiently. Here let's we see one diagram. Layer 1 sending the mails. Layer 1 send mail or receive mail. Layer 2 encrypt or decrypt. Layer 3 listen or talk. So in this layer 1 mails are sent. Layer 2 ciphertext. Layer 3 plain text. Both mails are send and receive. Communications are present here. Unit 1, third topic is web protocols. In this web protocol, first we discuss about file transfer protocol, FTP. Inside that name, we can identify what is file transfer protocol. Transferring the file between the computer, that is file transfer protocol. Here, using the server FTP, we can download a file. User can download a file. FTP means file transfer protocol. Here using two connections between server and the client. One connection is actual connection, data transfer connection. Another one is controlling the information. This the separation of data and commands makes the file transfer protocol more efficient. Next one is hypertext transfer protocol, HTTP. It's a request response model and it is a communication protocol and it is a network protocol. Communication protocol means used to transfer the information on the local area network and www, World Wide Web. Next, network protocol means used to deliver all the files and other data on the World Wide Web, whether it is HTML files or image files or query result or anything else. Usually, HTTP takes a place through the TCP or IP sockets, but it is also called as stateless protocols. Stateless protocol means not able to maintain the informations or conversation. Simple Network Management Protocol, SNMP, it to manage the network devices and diagnose the network problems. Here, two main elements. One is supervisor, next one is agent. Supervisor is a terminal. The network administrator request for network management. Agent means each interface connecting the managed devices to the network. That the agent information on the different objects such as switch, hub, routers can be collected. SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. It is used for transferring the mails to remote server. It is an asynchronous protocol because it allows the delayed delivery of messages. With the help of the mail transfer agent, the user agent SMT send and receive the mails. It is a simple mail transfer protocol. Post office protocol, that is POP3. It is used by the local email clients. Here it works only at the receiver side, not work at the sender side. Here two parts, POP protocol contain two parts. One client POP, next one is server POP. Client POP, that is receiver POP. Server POP means receiver's email server. Here client opens the TCP connection because the client must authenticate it first, that is using the username and password. Then client can receive the emails from the mailbox. Transmission Control Protocol, TCP. It is a connection oriented protocol. Before sending the data, protocol requires two connections, computer connections. Here it allows the transmission amount of data breaking into IP packets. The packets are numbered that are reassembled properly. Next, the data contain acknowledgement. The data sent or received in order to know whether the reliable connection occurred or not. So it contains an acknowledgement. UDP, User Datagram Protocol, it's connectionless protocol used for simply transmission of data, and it is a unlabeled protocol, but it is faster than TCP. Next is IP, Internet Protocol. It is a network layer protocol consisting of addressing information. But using this information, communication between uniquely addressed computers is possible. Hypertext Transfer Protocol, it is a stateless protocol. Here using request response model, from client send a request to the web page. The request is submitted to the web server and the web server give the response to the web browser by returning back to the web pages. Here some basic structure for HTTP request, that is start line, header field, blank line, message body, that is optional. In start line consists of three parts, that is request method, request URI, and HTTP version. Request method means that is a connecting method. Okay, it is used to during the web browser and the server communication. It always written in the uppercase letters only. Here two method is using, get method and post method. Get method means you can type a URL in the address bar, then you can click, you get some hyperlink that present in the document, then we can download the images from display within a HTML document. Next, post method means send information collected from user form. First one is HTTP request. In first one is request method. Method is get, post, options, put, delete. Description: get means return the resource specified by the request URI. Post means pass the body of this request messages. Option: return a list of HTTP method. Put means store the body of this message in the server. Delete means deleting the specified resources. Second one is request URI. URI means Uniform Resource Identifier. It is used to identify the names or resources on the internet. That URI is a combination of two things, URL and URN. URL means Uniform Resource Locator. It will denote the web address only. URN means Uniform Resource Names. It will denote the specific name of the person, item, or place, anything. Here example of URN means ISBN 978 81 8431 123 2. It will specify the address of the some books. For example, URL and intended server. Here using telnet website organization means telnet server. Next, HTTP www.mywebsite.com means it's a web server. Then file transfer, FTP mywebsite.com means file can be located on file transfer protocol server. Next one is third one, HTTP version. The official version of HTTP is http:/1.1. Here the start line is full of capital letters and no embedded spaces. Here the header field is in the form of field name and field value. Next, the structure of HTTP is start line, header field, next blank line, next message body. It's the structure of HTTP. Next, HTTP response structure, basic structure. In previous slide, we see the basic structure of HTTP. Here, status line, header field, blank line, and message body. In this status line, again, it contains three fields. One is HTTP version, status code, and a recent first. First one is HTTP version. New version is HTTP:1.1. Code is numeric code. Recent phase is present information about the status code. For example, first we explain HTTP version, that is HTTP:1.1, that is HTTP version. Second one is status code. Here the status code is numeric code 200. Again, recent first means the present status about the information. It's okay. That is the example of HTTP response status line. In this HTTP response, status code is declared and a recent parse and description. First is status code 200 means the recent parse is okay. Here the response is successful request. Next, 201 means it is created. New resource is been created. 202 means accepted. The request is accepted. 404 is not found, not currently presented, but may be available in future. 403 means forbidden. It is currently present, but the server is not available, able to respond. 500 means internal server error, generic error message due to software internal failure. In this HTTP response, it is similar to the request messages. See some header field, that is date, server and last modified. The description of date is represent the date and time. Server means name of the server. Last modified means represent the date and time. Next we see the predefined examples of the response messages. Cache control. Use of this cache, it will improve the system performance. Web servers store the web pages that is viewed by the web client in the cache memory. Next one is HTTP tunneling. It's a mechanism, communication performed by various network protocol that is encapsulated the HTTP protocol. Here, to communicate with the remote host, it will open an HTTP connection to the mediated server. Then, using HTTP requests that communicate with the mediator server by encapsulating the communication within those requests. But the mediator server unwrap the data and send to the remote host. Then remote host, when sends the response to the requesting host, wraps the response in the HTTP protocol and then it will respond. Unit 1, next topic is URL. URL means Uniform Resource Locator. It is a unique address for the file to access over the internet. If anyone want to access the website, first we can enter a URL in the address bar of the web browser. For example, if you want to access a Google, we can return the address bar in the www.google.com. For example, instead of domain name, you can use IP address also. IP address means, for example, http semicolon backslash 192.168.0.1. This is the IP address. But if you use IP address means URL is not preferred because human cannot remember the numbers easily. Because easily name can be identified. For example, http semicolon backslash www.example.com. For example, http is a protocol, hypertext transfer protocol. That is the example. We're searching example, some example. That is a domain name. In URL, absolute URL and relate URL. Absolute URL means it contains both domain name and directory page path. Here, absolute URL gives the complete location information. Let's below see the syntax of absolute URL. Next, relate URL. Relate URL means it contains both path exceeding the domain name. In this relative path, it is used for reference to given a link of a file that exists within the same domain. For example, using this relative URL, you can avoid the long path name. Next topic is domain name. In this domain name, it is very difficult to remember the numerical information, but simple to remember the textual information. Here, DNS is used, domain name system. It's a server, is an internet service in general that maps or translate human readable domain names, website name or URL. URL means Uniform Resource Locator into machines or computer readable IP address. Here it is also does the reverse process and it uses the UDP, user datagram protocol, and the service uses port number, that is 53. Port number is 53. DNS hierarchy. It's a domain namespace used to locate the computer uniquely. It will arrange the domain names in a hierarchical form. For example, domain names and a purpose. Domain names COM, or that means commercial organization, government organization, educational institution, international organization, network groups, or non-profit organization, military groups or organization. In means it refers the India. UK means United Kingdom. JP means Japan. In this DNS hierarchy, some top level DNS such as commercial, organization, education, military, network, United Kingdom, India, and so on. Such as are named in unnamed root, such as first level domain names, second level domain names, and third level domain names are mentioned in such top level DNS. Next, working principles of DNS. It's a client or server network communication protocol. Here, client request contain a name that is converted into an IP address that is known as forward DNS lookups. Then requested contain an IP address that is converted into a name that is known as reverse DNS lookups. First one is forward DNS lookups. Next one is DNS reverse DNS lookups. In DNS, implement a distributed database that is store the name of all the hosts available on the network. Distributed data means store the name of all the hosts available on the internet. If a client, like a web browser, send a request containing a host name, then a piece of software that is DNS resolver send a request to the DNS server that contain an IP address of a host name. If a DNS server does not contain the IP address with a host name, then it forwards the request to the another DNS server. If IP address have arrived at the resolver, it completes the request over the internet protocol. In this working DNS principle, it contains forward DNS lookups and reverse DNS lookups, and it implements a distributed database, and it contains a DNS resolver. That means it does not contain any IP address means with a host name means it forward request to the another DNS server. This is the working principles of domain name service. In the working principle of DNS, one system that communicate with DNS server and server IP. Here four types contain. First one is request HTTP, that is system sent to DNS server. Then DNS sent to the provides IP. Then system send HTTP request to the server IP. Again, server send back to the HTTP response. HTTP response means Hypertext Transfer Protocol response. These are the following process present in the working of DNS. Next topic is web browser and web server. Web browser. Web browser is a kind of software that run on the client machine. But this software sent the HTTP request to the server and then process the response. Commonly used web browsers are Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, Netscape Navigator, Opera, Google Chrome, Safari. When web browsers support various of protocol, but most of the used protocol is HTTP. Functions of web browser. Here, it reformat the URL and send a valid HTTP request. Reformat the URL and send a valid HTTP request. If User gives the address of website. User gives the address of website in the form of domain name. Then web browser convert the DNS to corresponding IP address. Web browser establish a TCP connection with the web browser processing the user request. Web browser send the HTTP request to the web server. Web server process the request and send by the web browser and return to the web page to the client machine. Then client machine display the web page in the appropriate format. This is the function of web browsers. Architecture of web browser. Here, user interface. That user interface is directly connected to the user interface backend. Then connected to browser engine. Then browser engine is connected to the rendering engine and data persistence. Rendering engine is connected to the networking and JavaScript interpreter. Then user interface backend. This is the architecture of web browser. Next, the explanation of the web browser architecture. First, user interface. Using this user interface, user will interact with the browser engine. Next one is browser engine. Browser engine is responsible for the querying the rendering engine. It will various input of user interface according to the various input of user interface. Next is the rendering engine. Rendering engine is responsible for displaying the requested content that will encrypt the HTML, XML, and JavaScript and the given URL and generate the layout then displayed in the user interface. The rendering engine of the main component is HTML parse. The job of the HTML parser is parse the HTML markup into the parse tree. Next is JavaScript interpreter. In the JavaScript interpreter, execute the JavaScript code that will embedded in the web pages. User interface is the user interact with the browser engine. Browser engine is querying the rendering engine. Rendering engine is displaying the requested content and interrupt the HTML, XML and JavaScript. The main component of the rendering engine is HTML parse. JavaScript interpreter is execute the JavaScript code. Networking. Networking is used to retrieve the URL that is using the common internet protocol such as HTTP and FTP. It is used to handle the internet communication and security issues. Next is user interface backend. It is used to draw the widgets like combo boxes and windows. Data persistence. It is a small database created on the local drive of the computer. When the browser is installed, the data storage manage use data such as bookmarks, cookies, and preference. Next is web server. Web server is a type of server which the web browser submit the request of web page that is desired by the client. Then some properly used web server such as Apache and IIS from Microsoft. Functions of web server. Here accept the request. First, it accept the request from the web browser. Next, that request is processed by the web server. Third point is The web server will respond to the user by providing the services. The web server serve the web-based application. Next, DNS is translate the domain name into IP address. Next, server will verify the given address is exist. Find necessary files that run appropriate script exchanging the cookies if necessary and return back to the server. Next, some server actually participated in section handling techniques. These are the functions of web server. Accept the request, that the request is processed and providing the services. Server serve the web-based application and domain into IP address and verify it. Working principle of web server. We see the step 1. Web client request for the web page by providing the IP address of the website. In step 2, web server locate the web page on the website and respond by sending back the requested page. If the page does not exist, it will send back the error page. Step 3, web browser receive the page and renders it as record. In right side, we see one diagram, that is both communication, web browser, web server and file system. First one, web browser send user request document next to the web server. Then web server looks the document on the file system is it is available. Then file system, from the file system it take the document and send back to the web server. Then web server return document back to the web browser. This is the architecture of the web server. In web server, first we see Apache. Apache features is reliability and efficiency, and it is a open source software because it is freely available to anyone. It is suitable for Unix system but also used on the Windows box. It configured as per the requirement using the file. Then second one is IIS. IIS is Internet Information Services or Internet Information Server. It is a web server provided by the Microsoft. It is most popular on Windows platform. Third one is database server. It contains lot of data that deals with a regular basis manner. If you have client server architecture, client need process data frequently. But it is better to work with the database server. Then all database functions are controlled by the database server. For example, the database server include Oracle, Database 2, Informex, and Microsoft SQL Server. Example of free software database server including PostgreSQL. Here the database server contain a lot of data and process the data frequently, works with the database server is better. All the database functions are controlled by the database server, but the database server included Oracle database, Informex and Microsoft SQL Server. Example of free software database server is including PostgreSQL. Web server architecture. Here the application server is present. Inside that application server, web container and web services that are connected to the web server and application data store. Then application data store is also connected to the application server box. Next, web client. That web client is forward the HTTP request to the web server. That the web server send a static data request to the static data store. Again, the static request will respond by the static data store and sent to the web server. Let's see the difference between web server and the database server. First, web server use the languages like PHP, ASP, JSP, but using the use of protocols such as FTP and HTTP. But database server contain a own specific program, language or query language. Next, web server used to save the static and dynamic content. But the database server storing and managing the data of your computer programs. In the web server, only perform web-based services. Database server perform and manage the database, enterprise-based or business-based service at the same time. In the web server, Apache HTTP server, Microsoft Internet Information Service, Google Web Server, Sun Java System Web Server are the example of web server. In the database server examples are Oracle, SAP, MySQL and Database2 are the examples of the database server. Next, see the difference between Apache and IIS. In Apache, it is useful on both Unix-based system and on Windows platform. In IIS, it is used on Windows platform only. In Apache, it is a open source product. IIS is a vendor specific product. It can be used on Windows products only. In Apache, it controlled by editing configuration file. In IIS, it controlled by modifying the Windows based management program that's called as IIS snapping. This is the difference between Apache and IIS. Let's see the difference between application server and web server. In application server, it exploits the business logic to client application through the protocols including HTTP. But web server handles HTTP protocol. Next, application server used to serve web-based application and enterprise application. In web server, it is used to serve web-based application only. In application server, various application to another device, it allows everyone run on the it allows everyone in the network to run software of the same machine. But in the web server, keeping HTML, PHP, ASP, etc. files available for the web browser, user access site on the web handle, HTTP request from clients. In the application, it makes use of distributed transactions and EJB. In web server, it use of if servlet and JSP only. Here the application server is resource utilization is high. Web server resource utilization is low. This is the difference between application server and web server. Next topic is working principle of a website. First we see the features of website design. First one is quality web content. Next, clear user friendly navigation. Next, simple and professional web design. In quality web content, the information is fast and reliable. For business website, content should include important information only added. The quality of the pictures, product picture is display high quality. Next, it can highlight the client testimonial. Next, use clear user-friendly navigation. In this user-friendly navigation, allows visitor to quickly find the information needed. Then search box is suggested to make faster and reach more specific pages within the website. This is a user-friendly navigation. Next, third is simple and professional web design. It balanced distribution of content and graphics is required. Next, slightly contrasting colors and clear fonts. It's also a necessary in simple and professional web design. Next, web page speed. Here, the website with heavy graphics contain audio, video that takes more time to load. Maintain the desirable speed of the website. Next, search engine optimization is allows the insertion of keywords in website content and appropriate link profile social media signals that are included in the search engine optimization. Next, web compatibility. Here, the website should easily render on various resolutions, screen size, browsers, and the increasing popularity of mobile device website should function properly on this type of device are included in the web com- compatibility. Next, we see the issues of website design. First one is simplicity, identity, consistency, robustness. Here, simplicity means avoid lot of animation, huge amount of the information are avoided in the simplicity. Next, identity means web design driven by the objective of web application, and web engineer must work to establish an identity for the web application through the design. Consistency means constructed. The content of the web application should be constructed consistently. For example, text format, font style, graphic design, color schemes and style, hypermedia structure, navigation and content display that are included in consistency. Robustness means user always expect robust content and function of the web application. If any functions are missing, insufficient, the web application will fail. That are included in the robustness. Next, navigability. The navigation should be simple and consistent and visual appeal. Here, the web application is most visual and dynamic. The various factor of visual appear is look and feel of the content, interface layout, color coordination, balance of text, graphics, and other media. Here, the navigation mechanism will shown. Compatibility means it is used in various variety of environment and configurations such as different browser, internet connection, OS, and various browser. This is the compatibility. These are the issues: navigability, visual appeal, and compatibility. Next is topic is creating a website. What is website? Is a collection of web pages that are grouped together and contain a certain task under a single domain. That is a website. Here each web page means contain a text, photo, video, social media button and etc. That web page is a special type of document that is written in a scripting language such as HTML, CSS, JavaScript and PHP. Why do people visit website? This is a question for finding a required information and complete a needed task. This is the purpose of people will visit the website. Next is steps for creating the website. First is website creation. Create a web page using a scripting language. Next is choose the web hosting server. That is web hosting company will host the web pages on the web server. That is the web hosting service, choosing the web hosting service. Next is registering domain name. Correct domain name is important to actual location of our website on web server. That is registering the domain name. Next, planning your website. Planning your website means make a number of important decisions like type, navigation, design, and content. Next, uploading the files. To publish a website on the web page, you need send the web pages creating you can on the web server using a file transfer protocol. Next, testing the website means multiple browser, multiple OS, connection speed, device type, link, security testing. Multiple browser means that the content of the website are consistently displayed and portable. Multiple OS means display the website on different OS. Connection speed means test the download time. Device type means test the website on the computer have different screen size. Link, using the link validation tool, all of your links connected to a live page. Security testing means application running on the website. Test the security. Next is client side and server side scripting. There are two types of scripting language, client side scripting language and server side scripting language. Client side scripting language means used to create the web page as a request or response to the server. It is displayed to the user on web browser, for example, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP. Server-side scripting language means used to create the web page that provides some services. It is generally run on web server, example, ASP, JSP, servlet, PHP. Next, difference between client-side scripting and server-side scripting. Client-side scripting means used to create the web page that provides some services. Client-side means create the web page as request and response to the server. Next, server side is run on web server. Here, run on browser side. Next, server side is running a script directly on the web server, generate dynamic HTML page. Here, it process the script take place on end user computers. Then users means process of user request access to database. Here client side means interactive web pages and interactive temporary storage such as cookies. Example, here server side example PHP as .NET. Client side means HTML, CSS are the example of client side. This is the difference between server side and client side scripting. Thank you all.